Good morning, ultimate hustlers and digital empire builders. It is that time for the Cortez Hustle Show. And today we've got a wonderful show lined up for you. We are talking systems and automation, how to put your business on autopilot. And I got a very special guest coming on the show for you guys today. Shequana Hughes is an amazing coach and business strategist when it comes to systems and automation. And she's going to help you put your business in the right place so you can make more money with less effort. So do me a huge favor, comment in the chat where you're from, drop the name of your business and or your brand, and smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen, and let's kick it. That ain't the right intro, y'all. That is my bad. Now let's kick it. Yo, what's up, ultimate hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally or I've learned from or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network. And when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. I'm, of course, your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur, from the blackbeardsuccessapp.com, coming to you live and direct from our studios here in Houston, Texas. That's right, your boy is on the move. We are in Houston to celebrate the holidays with one of my beautiful 5 sons. So we're super excited to be here. But we're talking systems and automation today, and I got a special guest that I'm going to bring on in just a minute. But keep in mind, guys, if you do not have a community to plug into to help you in your business, your marketing, your strategy, your branding, just to talk business with, because I know as entrepreneurs, we don't have the people in our corners all the time to talk business with, strategize with, and it gets frustrating. And sometimes it can be lonely as an entrepreneur. So I want you to do me a huge favor. Text keyword mastermind to 314-866-4053 if you'd like to join the Blackbeard Success Mastermind, where we're going to help you become part of our community, man, so we can build and grow. Our entire mission is to help Black people become the #1 employers of Black people. And the way you do that is by encouraging entrepreneurship, helping those who are already entrepreneurs grow and scale their businesses to where they can hire people and just continue to push the culture forward in that way. And that's what we're going to do. So text Mastermind to 314-866-4053 if you want to be part of that mastermind. A couple quick announcements, ladies and gentlemen, before we get all the way underway here. If you don't know, the Blackbeard Success Show is coming to Roku this January, and I'm looking for sponsors. If you are in the B2B space, meaning you have services that businesses buy from you, then the Blackbeard Success Show is a show aimed at Black business owners. So you might want to consider sponsoring an episode or a segment or two of the Blackbeard Success Show. Also, if you're in the St. Louis area, I'm looking for about 10 opportunities to volunteer this holiday season. So let me know if you know of any volunteer opportunities, hands-on. Also, I'm looking for nonprofits and churches who've got things that I could help with from a digital marketing standpoint with my company. So I'd be looking to donate some time and some energy of my team to help with some of the organization or the marketing for a church or a nonprofit organization. And then last but not least, oh no, that was last. That was the last announcement. So it gives me a great deal of honor. It's my privilege and it is a pleasure to introduce to you guys this young lady who I've come to know and respect. She has a tremendous amount of knowledge and a wealth of information when it comes to you adding systems and automation and laying the framework for a business that is not only profitable, but also scalable. So without further ado, let me introduce to some of you guys and present to others, Madam Shequana, the CEO, Hughes. Good morning, sis. How are you? Uh-oh, you on mute or I'm on mute or I can't hear you.
I'm on mute.
Oh, okay. Good morning, sis. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing extremely well. Glad to have you on the show this morning so you can teach us all how to add some systems and some automation to our business. But before we do that, one of the first things that we do, we like to start the show off with something positive. And I call this the quote of the day. So I'm going to share one of my favorite quotes. If you have a quote, then you can share yours or you can chime in on that one. I've been rereading for the umpteenth thousand time, Think and Grow Rich. So today's quote is coming from Think and Grow Rich. Thoughts which are mixed with any of the feelings of emotions constitute a magnetic force which attracts other similar or related thoughts. So your thoughts are things and you have a magnetic mind, and what you think on with emotion will draw other thoughts to you to help you build what you need to build. So that is from, of course, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Do you have a favorite quote or do you want to chime in on that one?
I do. I have a favorite quote. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems.
Ooh, she going right at it already. Stop stepping on my toes so early. I just invited you on. Now you're stepping on my toes already. All right, Shequana. I ask everybody who comes on the Cortez Hustle Show this very question. Who the heck are you?
Who am I? Wow. I'm still trying to figure that out, actually.
Okay. So what have you figured out so far?
I am Shequana Hughes. I am a system strategist and the CEO and founder of the Sava Group. And but who I am personally is I am a wife. I am a mother of 5 children. I heard you call yourself a fatherpreneur.
That's right. That's
I've
right.
never heard that before.
Yeah, man. I have 5 sons.
Okay, all right. I have 4 daughters and a son.
Okay. Love
Yes,
it. Love
I've
it.
never heard that before. That is so cool. So I am a mompreneur.
There you go.
And that is how I really got into the space that I'm in, because trying to own a business and do all of the things and be a mom and all of that, I had to get some structure and some order about my life and business. And so that kind of led me on this journey that I'm in. But I've been an entrepreneur since 2007.
Okay.
And so it's been a very long journey. I've owned several businesses in different facets, and I worked in corporate America off and on over the years. And so I am just another entrepreneur figuring out like everybody else.
Good. Well, we're going to get into all of that because I'm here for all the smoke, Shequana. I want it all, right? So your entrepreneurial journey, before you got into that, were you an entrepreneur as a kid?
No.
Okay. Gotcha. And I want to know the journey, right? So if you weren't an entrepreneur as a kid, that follow-up question to that, but did you see entrepreneurship? Did you have any entrepreneurs in your family that kind of maybe planted some seeds in you that you didn't even realize were being planted? Did you see any entrepreneurs in the family?
My mother, actually.
Okay.
Mother, we talked a lot about it over the years. She's been an entrepreneur all of her life.
Gotcha.
She's also worked in corporate America, but she has been an entrepreneur most of her life. And I saw that growing up, and I didn't even realize the impact that it was having on my life at the time. And until just recently, I didn't even know that that's what she was doing, because she always worked, but she had side hustles
Yeah. Yeah. I love
that
it.
she
I
would
love it.
do.
And that's if if I throw my dad hat on, right? Kids pick up more than they're taught. And I want people to understand that. They pick up more than they are taught. We don't sit our kid down and teach them every word in the English language, right? They pick it up from just being around a culture that speaks the English language. Well, guess what? If your kid is in a culture of entrepreneurship, they're going to pick up entrepreneurship whether you want them to or not. And that also goes for some bad habits. They will pick those up too if you're not careful exposing them to those things. So walk me through your journey, right? High school, college, all of that kind of stuff. So what was young Shequana doing as she was trying to find her way through this life in early adulthood?
So, going back to my mom worked in corporate America as a secretary, is what they
Hmm.
were called at the time. And so, growing up, I always saw her get up, and she worked for Anheuser-Busch, if you know
Yeah,
that beer
yeah.
company, anyone in the world. And she would get up and she would get suited and booted and she would go to work. And I just
Hmm.
thought that was really cool. She would always look really nice. She would wear suits and really nice things. And so when I went to high school, I actually went to high school. I went to a regular high school for general studies. And then I went to a trade school
Hmm.
for half a day to learn how to be a secretary,
Okay,
basically, is what it was called.
gotcha.
So it was a business program.
Hmm.
And I went through that program. So I graduated with my general studies certificate, and I also graduated with a business certificate. And I
Nice.
started working in the field right after I graduated from high school. So started as a receptionist, then got promoted
Hmm.
to an administrative assistant, is who we were called then, which was
Right.
also a secretary. And so
Hmm.
I've been in that field for over 20 years.
Wow.
But
Okay.
it's crazy because after I got into it and I started doing it, like a lot of people, you get kind of bored with what you're doing. And so I just kind of ventured off into a whole nother field. So when I started off in entrepreneurship, I started off in skincare.
Hmm. Okay.
So I went totally left field on that. Got my aesthetics license, opened up a spa,
Mm.
and it just kind of evolved from there. But what I found was I wasn't truly passionate about that. It was something that I thought would make me successful, or something that I would make a lot of money in. And
Right.
so that's really why I got into that field.
Hmm.
I dabbled in MLM. I don't know if you've ever
Hmm.
heard multi-level
Yeah.
marketing,
Yeah.
which I really attribute a lot of my success to,
Hmm. Hmm.
because the coaching that you receive in those
Yeah.
types of companies,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they want you to sell the products, they want you to do well.
Listen, I still have probably 70% of my income is from an MLM team I built.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a top producer in a company right now. So I love
Wow.
that industry, and you're right. And here's one of the things that people don't get is my MLM days goes all the way back to Amway when I was a young man, and ACN was my first introduction to it. And I remember being in Amway for years, right? Showing up to the meetings every week and not recruiting anybody, not selling any products. But what kept me around? They built an amazing culture. And while I wasn't growing my MLM team, I was growing myself.
Mhm.
Because on the flip
Yeah.
side of that, I was getting all these promotions on my job, and I was piloting new programs. And I was like, why are they always picking me for this stuff? Because I was studying leadership. I was studying personal growth and development. I was studying mindset and positive mental attitude and how to deal with people and all of this stuff. And the fruits of that was showing up on my job before it started showing up in my business.
Wow.
Right. So you are 100% right. People see only the money side, and if I can't get to the money fast enough, then they quit and give up on it. But yeah, ain't nothing like that residual income coming in. I get a text message every day at 5 o'clock that tells me how much money I got for the day
Oh,
in that
wow.
organization. So it's an amazing industry, and yeah, you do learn lots of cool stuff. Let me ask you this though, and I talk to every sister that comes on the show this way about this topic when it comes to corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like for you as a Black woman in corporate America, figuring out who you are? Did you have some of the same internal conflicts that a lot of our sisters struggle with, trying to fit in, trying to assimilate, trying to not bring all of the Black girl magic because it's not well received? What was that experience like?
It wasn't all bad. I will say that.
Yeah.
I'm a natural learner of
Hmm.
life. I'm a natural learner. I'm always, picking up things. So my last corporate job was I worked for a large rental car company in St. Louis. I worked for the senior vice president and the vice presidents of the company. So I was working up there on the level with the CEO, founders, and all of that. And I learned a lot.
Hmm.
So I'll
Hmm.
start there with the good. But yes, like any African American person, any Black woman, I'm typically the only Black person in my department.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that can be hard. And not only that, for me, I was working with multimillionaires,
Yeah. Yeah.
And to see these people, and there's nothing wrong with that. I totally aspire to be a multimillionaire. I will be one day.
Hmm.
But I was working in I guess an entry level position, I guess you would say. So I wasn't making a ton of money. And to have that disconnect of
Hmm.
wealth
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
they were buying multiple homes. I remember when Tesla had first come out, and one of the vice presidents had bought one for his parents and for himself.
Wow.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
so, I mean, to be in those rooms to see that, it was inspiring, but it was also like, wow,
Hmm.
just, and it takes me back to my high school days, considering, you asked me about, my journey. I went to school in a predominantly white area. I lived in the city of St. Louis and was bused out in the DSEC program all the
Gotcha.
way out to Eureka, Six Flags, if you're in St.
Okay.
Louis,
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
single day. And to see, the kids getting a brand new car for their 16th birthday, and to
Mhm.
come back home and see the poverty and the things that I was
Yeah.
living through was hard. So I think that, because me personally, it was hard working in corporate America and dealing with, code switching, or, making
Mhm.
sure that I wasn't, bringing too much of myself to work. I was always me.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'll tell you guys a funny story. When I was working in corporate America, one day I was late for work, and it was because I had left my wig at home.
Oh,
The
wow.
wig.
Wow.
And I called the lady that I worked for at the time, was over the human resources department. And I
Mhm.
called her and I was like, I was rushing and I left my wig at home, and she died laughing. I mean, older Caucasian lady. She was like, I've never heard anyone say that before. So I've always brought me
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
table, even working in those fields. So I would say for me, the hardest part was the disconnect and the wealth in that.
Yeah. And did you experience any negativity because of that? And sometimes it's not even intentional, right? Sometimes it's offensive because I don't know that my level of success offends you when I do certain things around you. Do you have any of those kind of experiences? Or I would assume that at that level, you don't have a ton of people talking down to you and that kind of thing. But there might be a few who think they're better than you because the type of work you're doing for these big wigs. Did you have any of that kind of stuff going on as well?
It was a total disconnect. And like you said, no one did it intentionally. No one did it
Yeah.
intentionally. Or maybe it was a little, the more I think about it. But
Yeah, you can throw jabs without
listen,
lacing
listen,
up the gloves.
I'll tell you a story about that too. So there was a big snowstorm one year, and this same lady, she worked in human resources, okay? She was
Mm-hmm.
a human resource person, and she mentioned something about the streets being plowed and that people that live in certain areas, their streets got plowed first because they had to go to work.
Mm.
You know, they had to make it out to
Right.
go to work, and then they did the people, you know, the clean the streets and the you know, more
And that's
affluent
it. Mm-hmm.
areas last because, you
Yeah.
know, these were the bosses and they didn't
Right.
have to like,
Oh
you know,
man,
get through the streets. Right. So yeah,
that,
definitely. Yeah,
that's
all that.
deep.
I dealt with all that.
That's deep. Yeah, and that's and no shade to corporate America, right?
Mhm.
There's nothing wrong with working a job, but I am, like my man Marquell Russell says, I'm an entrepreneur supremacist, right? You have white supremacists who think white people are the best. You have black supremacists who think black people are the best. I'm an entrepreneur supremacist. I think entrepreneurs are the best, right?
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with working a job, but at the same time, I think there's a lasting effect that comes with constantly having to code switch. There's a
Mhm.
lasting effect with coming to always have to only bring certain levels of yourself to the table. There's a
Mhm.
lasting effect of constantly being diminished, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally. And I think that wears on you over time. And I think that's the reason that Black women are the fastest growing population of entrepreneurs in the world,
For sure.
because I think you guys are finally starting to get it, right? You got enough of that at home. Black men for a long time didn't see Black women as business owners and things of that nature. So we wouldn't always encourage you to go out and do your thing. And then, of course, corporate America, that whole thing that you went through there, like being a Black woman with natural hair in corporate America, just that alone is like, that's a whole nother thing. And I'm like, man, I'm surprised that sisters haven't gone this path of entrepreneurship. Long time. I'm talking about full time. They've always had side hustles. My mom did some stuff on the side too, but I'm surprised that sisters just didn't, revolt and walk out the door a long, long time ago. So we're getting into a segment of the show, Shequana. And those of you who are tuning in, man, let us know, did you have some of those experiences in corporate America as a Black woman or as a Black man? Because we go through a similar thing as a Black man, like kind of that stay in your place type thing, right? Or those of us who do ascend, is we're the only one of us in the room, right? And that's an uncomfortable feeling. Nobody can relate. And it's a whole thing as well. So if you have that experience, we'd like to hear from you as well. But now it's time for 1 minute motivation. This is where we play a short motivational clip, usually about 60 to 90 seconds or so. I'm going to ask you to give a takeaway. I'm going to give a takeaway as well. So let's get into 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show.
Will come. Basketball for me was the most important thing. So everything I saw, whether it was TV shows, whether it was books I read, people I talked to, everything was done to try to learn how to become a better basketball player. Everything. And so when you have that point of view, then literally the world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft. The competitiveness that I bring to work every day is really helping people, in a sense, be competitive with themselves. Right? If you're animating something, or you're writing a screenplay, or you're composing a piece of music, is that the best you can do? Right? Don't ask me. Don't say, "Okay, do you approve?" Don't ask me. I'm not the musician. I'm not the composer. Right? So the competitiveness is more from an individual perspective. Is this the best you can do? And if the answer is yes, then off we go. We talk about this often, and we always talk about the fact that you can learn a lot more from the failures than you can from the successes. And you have to figure out where those landmines are, and then how to best avoid those, or help entrepreneurs, and ourselves included, figure out the clues of where those landmines are. Not that you're going to avoid all of them,
Right.
but it's also, when you do step on one, figuring out, okay, how do you recuperate? How do you balance back and pick yourself up?
Hoo-wee. I don't know about you, Shequana. But you sound like the late great Kobe talking
Right.
period about anything, but let alone when he's in this motivational space. He had kind of gotten into post basketball, so doing a lot of interviews, building other companies. That was amazing. And I'll tell you the reason I love this segment so much is because we all just listen to the same clip, but based on where we are in life, we all heard something different.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you hear?
I heard that no matter what it is that where you start and what you go through throughout the process, to keep going and keep moving throughout that.
Yeah, it's a huge thing that he said. Well, we are trying to find the clues as to where the landmines are, so we don't step on them. We're going to step on them. He didn't say if you step on them. He said when you step on them, figure out how you're going to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep it moving. He said basketball became everything for him. So the world became his tutor, his coach. He learned something about the game of basketball from every aspect of life. And I'm that way now. My wife and I can't watch a TV program for any length of time without me saying, oh, how much did Coca-Cola pay for that? Right? Because I'm looking at product placement. As a marketer, I'm seeing all of these things kind of like the Matrix, like, yeah, you're seeing a TV program, Sugar, but I'm seeing all of the marketing and the messaging behind the TV program. And we can't watch TV together because I know she don't want to hear that stuff. Like every time I see a computer, I always count the number of times that I see a computer on the screen. And do I see the Apple logo or do I see the Windows logo? Now, you know that's intentional. How much did they pay for that? Right? Because I'm a marketer. I'm building a media company. I want to know how much to charge these people for product placement in my productions.
Right.
So that is Women in Motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by the Black Business Success app. If you don't have a platform to build your amazing online presence, then we can help you with that. Shequana is an amazing coach and mentor in helping you line up your processes, line up your automation, putting your things in place. And she's offering a free strategy session. And I put the link in the comments. All you got to do is click and you can schedule your free strategy session with Shequana. Let's see who's jumped into the stream. Janelle is in the building. He says, keep it moving. You learn from your failures is what he got out of this morning's 1 minute motivation. You are absolutely right, man. You learn a lot more from failing than you do from winning. And that's why some of the greats have gone through those losing seasons and years, and then they get on a winning tear and they can't stop winning because they felt what it feels like to lose. So Shequana, talk a little bit about your journey in corporate America. Started the spa and realized that I don't really love this. So,
I don't even know if I liked it.
But that's also one of those things where if you don't understand the role that passion plays in your life, and this is kind of just my thinking, passion is designed to keep you involved in the thing long enough for you to discover your purpose, right? And where your purpose is, you also find your provision. I just think God set it up that way. Hey, you're passionate about this, and if you stick with that passion long enough, you're going to ultimately discover, oh, this is what I'm meant to do. This is what God created me for. But the God I serve didn't want to create me to do what he built me for. And then while I'm doing it, I got to figure out how to feed, clothe, and shelter myself. No, while you're doing what he built you for, all of that stuff comes with it. But I think we don't stick with our passions long enough. So from the spa, there's obviously a pivot. What was next?
So when I decided that wasn't the thing to do, and a lot of it had to do with the fact that I was a mother and that my goal was to be involved in my children's lives. And the spa required me to be away from home a little bit more than I would have liked.
Gotcha.
So that played a role in it. And I was thinking, like, what can I do that I'm passionate about, that I love to do, that I have experience in, that will allow me to be at home?
Yeah.
So I was a little bit not ahead of my time because there were other people doing it. But what I had come to the conclusion of was I can assist people from home. I can, help people with what it is that they need help with from home. And so I started a virtual assistance business.
Love it.
And that's where I got my start. And so I had networked a lot because I had been in business for so long. It was something that MLM taught me. Build your network, build relationships, that kind of thing. So I had networked a lot, made a lot of connections. And so when I decided to start that business, it was, I'm not going to say easy, but it was kind of easy because I knew a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people who needed help with their administrative support, their back office.
Yeah.
And I started to reach out to those people that I had connected with and built relationships with. And it took off so fast, way faster than I had imagined. And my business grew really fast. And within a year of starting that business, we were an agency. And I had about 7 people working with me, helping to fulfill, whatever the entrepreneurs needed. But what I found in that is that a lot of people are new entrepreneurs, new to entrepreneurship. I was new to that type of, like, I really had to, there was really no blueprint for that for me because the industry was new. So it was a lot of things that I was building on my own, figuring out on my own. There was really no blueprint for that. And in that, I was drowning in the world of entrepreneurship and being a mom and all of that. And a lot of the business owners that I was working with was, they were busy. They had the support of me and my team, but we all were trying to figure it out, as far as, how to make all of this work together. And so me being the person that I am, the constant learner and figuring things out, I was like, what can I do to really help these people? Because what I'm doing right now, as far as like doing these odd tasks and things that they needed for us to do that they really didn't know how to tell us to do it, what can I do to really help the entrepreneur? What can I do to really help them move their business forward? What can I do to really help them scale? And what I found was that they needed systems, they needed processes more than they needed an assistant.
Yeah.
And so I got all the way into that, took some courses, classes, learned as much as I could. And I was like, this is what they really need. And I became that person for them.
And that's huge because I think you and I kind of serve a similar market in the solopreneur, the small business, that demographic, because that's where I am. It's like I had a woman on my show, Michelle Seiler Tucker. She's a queen of acquisition. That's all she do is buy and flip and fix and flip businesses, right? And she talked to me and helped me understand the importance of your processes and your procedures and having them well documented so that, and then I had a coach, Henry Doris, would say, well, Cortez, if something happened to you today, who can come in and pick up where you left off? Like, nobody, because it's all in my head. It's like, man, you got to get it out of your head. You got to get it on paper. So that's kind of what you learn and realize is that they wouldn't need my help if they just had a process of doing what they do and they just did that consistently. They'd be all right. So you help them with that. Did you go back on mute?
I'm sorry. Not only that, but you do need help, and you're going to need some assistance. But a lot of people were wasting their time and money bringing on help because they didn't know where to tell them to go.
My wife helps me with the podcast set up and, kind of get it on StreamYard and all of the different things. And I remember the first time we sat down and I just kind of told her some things to do. And she's like, this ain't going to work. Because every time I tell her to do something and then she go and try to do it, then she come back and it was, you got to do this, 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 and this before you do that. She's like, well, why you didn't tell me that?
I'm trying to help you, sir. Help me help you.
Yes. But when you're used to doing something yourself, you have all of this stuff in you and it just flows, right? And you don't think about all of the minute steps that you take personally. And you're telling her, hey, just go log in the StreamYard and then just set it up. Well, how do I log in the StreamYard? I'm just assuming you know how to log in the StreamYard.
Right. Right.
So wait, real quick though, before we go any further, I got to go back just a little bit because you're married, right? What was hubby's thoughts and takes on this whole entrepreneurial journey? Was it a complete buy-in out of the gate, or was there some convincing, some selling, or did he already know, yeah, I'm married to an entrepreneur, she just ain't started her business yet? So right.
He's been supportive from the very beginning, but I'm the type of person like, you gonna ride with me or you not? No, but he is amazing. He's, when things are not going well financially, he jumps in there and makes sure he picks up the slack. He's just been he's funded some of my businesses in the past. I mean, he's been extremely supportive. I could not have asked for a more supportive spouse. But I'm so excited and so passionate about what it is that I'm doing that it's hard not to get into it. You be like, oh, really? Okay, come on, let's go.
Yeah, and I bring that up because I want to encourage entrepreneurs in that either way. Like the book I read tells me all things are possible for him or her that believe. It didn't say all things are possible for him who has a spouse or a mate that believes, right? My job is to believe and take the actions based on that belief. And a lot of times the spouse or the support system will ride based on my belief and my action, right? So those who don't have that support, you're saying, hey, you got to be fired up about your thing and you got to go after it anyway, right? And then those of us who are blessed to have that support.
Money, you gotta turn it off, baby.
Those of us who are blessed to have that support, then we just gotta go and do our thing and continue to earn that support, right?
Yeah, you have to believe in your idea, believe in yourself before anyone else can. And that plays a big role in the support that I receive, which I have not just my husband, but I have an amazing support system, period. But they see the determination and the grind and all of that in me. And it's hard not to back that up. So, showing people what it is that you're doing, if you want their support, if you care about that, it's going to go a long way with the way that they.
And then you earn that support with the work, right? You don't just talk about it and you're spending a bunch of money on stuff and you ain't doing nothing every day. No, you're doing and you're getting results and they can see that and it's easier to support you. Yeah, I don't want you to go and not show hubby some love because, we need some acknowledgments and some shout outs too every now and then. So you got into that and you realize that the systems part is what people needed help with, the processes and documenting that stuff so it makes it easier to have that stuff spelled out, right? What was the most challenging case that you had of an entrepreneur, hard-headed, don't believe that I need a process? Can you just do everything for me? Or no, I don't need to write everything down. I just need to just go. What was the most challenging case that you had so far in trying to bring an entrepreneur to the place of realization that you need a process? Once we get the process, we can then build some systems around that process and we're going to help you. But we can't if you're not willing to sit down and do the process.
Can I be honest?
Yeah. Was it you?
I am I was the hardest person I had to deal with because, and I'm in the process of writing an ebook, and I started off just saying that I am one who has rebelled my entire life against structure. And parameters and boundaries and like that kind of thing. And so like I said, I was the first person that I recognized that I was like drowning in just all of the client work and having a team and, all of those things. And I had to get structure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was really hard to incorporate that into my life and my business, because I work with people not only on their business systems, but their life systems.
Okay.
Because there is a system to having a more organized life and having systems around what you do in your life to help you in your business. And going almost 40 years, just kind of like, at the beat of my own drum, and having to get strict with my goals and my processes. It was a little hard for me, but it's a mindset shift initially. And it's something that you have to work on in your head. And I started with that with myself. And then incorporated some of the other tools and resources that I work with my clients on in my life. And it's been a huge change to just my stress level and anxiety.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I knew we were kindred spirits, because it's like, why don't you do what you tell your clients to do?
Right.
And I'll tell you one, like you said, rebellious, and I wouldn't say rebellious, but I guess that's what the word is. But in the Matrix, when Neo goes to see the Oracle and the little boy is in there bending the spoons, right? And he's like, man, how did you do that? He's like, you're trying to bend the spoon. I'm trying to get you to realize that there is no spoon, right? And that's kind of like, I realized that there is no box. Damn, thinking outside of the box, I realized there is no box, but you have to put yourself into some sort of structure in order to move towards your goals. And that's been challenging for me as well. So as you guys have moved and grown your company, and now you're kind of understanding what it is for you to do, talk about some of the first few steps that you need to take someone through to help them get down the path of getting into the mindset that it starts with, your processes and then building your systems. What are some of the first few steps that you see most entrepreneurs need, especially those of us who are solopreneurs and trying to figure this out on our own? We don't have the resources to hire a team yet, but we're just trying to make life easier in business and even outside of business. What are some of those first few steps?
I would have to say one of the first things that people need to recognize is what it is. What do you want? What do you want out of your business? And we start there. Like, what are your goals? What's your end game? What are you working? Because that's different for everybody. So the system structure, the system process is not going to be the same for everyone, because everyone's goals are different. And then once you figure that out, determining what is stressing you out right now. what is like your biggest, again, because everyone's is different. Are you having a time management issue? Or are you late to meetings, or having an issue with those types of things? So what's stressing you out? What is your biggest pain point right now in your business that you may need some structure around, that you may need a process around, that you may need a system around? And when I say systems, a lot of people automatically go to the softwares, or think of like, what can I throw at this problem as far as a calendar or some kind of software that you can use, or something like that. But it starts with your mind, first of all, and then it starts with knowing. You have to know, where you're going. You have to know what your pain points are. And that's the only way that you can fix what may be the problem, or that may be the issue.
Yeah, and I know that has also been something that I struggled with, is getting that stuff out of my head. It's like, I know where I'm going, I know what I want, but as I'm reading Think and Grow Rich again for the umpteenth thousand times, like, okay, now it's time to really start organizing these thoughts, because I once heard I once heard Elon Musk talk about, I think he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking about, Joe Rogan asked him about his creative genius. And I so related to his response because I feel the same way. He said, it's like having a never-ending explosion going on in your head with all of these ideas that, that's possible. And I'm like, yes, somebody else is feeling me. And then I'm like, Elon Musk is, okay, this genius, but without the ability or the discipline to structure and get some of these things down on paper so that you can aim your focus at one or two of these things, I think has been a struggle for me in the past. So getting to that place, now what's next? Okay, got the goal, got the vision, we know where we're going, know what I'm willing to give up to get there. Boom. Now what do we do?
We are getting that down on paper, like you said, and getting that into a software or a tool that can help you with possibly automating some of those things. If you're having an issue with time management or with your schedule, you may need to use a scheduler. You may need to incorporate your calendar that, a lot of the tools that we have at our disposal, our calendars, our cell phones, we're not using them with all the features to its greatest capability. Using your calendar to store your doctor's appointments as well as your meetings. We keep our doctor's appointments for ourselves and our kids in our heads, or we think we do. And then we've double booked ourselves.
Right.
And now we're stressed out about that. So beginning to use those tools, getting that information down on paper. I always start on paper, and then I incorporate those things into the tools. And that's where I start with my clients with first, coming up with a strategic plan around your life and business, and then getting it into those tools is the next step.
Yeah. And I think, for me personally, is coming to a space where I realize that it all is all one thing and not two separate things, right? If you're a solopreneur, especially now, if you got a team, then maybe you can run separate lives, right? You got your 9 to 5, and then when you go home, then you can. But as a solopreneur, it all runs together for me. And figuring out how to schedule it and keep all of that stuff together has been a challenge. So I'm glad that you said that, put your doctor's appointments on the same calendar with your business appointments so you can see everything. Otherwise, you're going to be having a client meeting when you're supposed to be at the doctor, right? and I've been there.
Been there.
I've done that. It's funny that you said that, but you keep throwing up this word stress. Can you talk to the people about how this is the antidote to stress? When you put a process and a system in place, it's a de-stressor.
Man, when I started incorporating these things into my life, like, I cannot tell you the amount of stress. And not only that, like, the overwhelm of being an entrepreneur is why a lot of people don't make it. It's why a lot of people give up, midway through the process before they reach their goals or before they reach, because it's so much.
Yeah.
It's a lot of undertaking. And if you have never been through this or experienced anything like it, or don't have a parent or, someone close to you who can mentor you or coach you through these things, it's all on you to figure out. And that's why a lot of people don't make it. So I want to say that as well, because being overwhelmed and feeling like it's not possible will get you down before anything else, will take you out before anything else. But speaking of taking you out, the stress of pushing through and keeping going, even when you are stressed out, can have an effect on your physical health. on your body, on your mind, on your spirit. And a lot of people they're not talking about that today as far as entrepreneurship goes. There are a lot of people dealing with mental health issues based on, feeling like they're failing or, they're not getting it right. When sometimes all you do need is a little bit of help and support in making everything work is what I'm trying to say. Like bringing it all together and making it work together in that. So yeah, stress plays a big role in entrepreneurship. And I don't want to say that this is like a pill that you take and then you're all healed and all better, but it's definitely a start to get you on the road to the success that you're looking for.
Yeah, not a pill, but a part of your overall health regimen, right? Because we know that there's no diet pill, but if you change your diet, it can help, right? But it can only help so much. Then you add exercise to that, boom. Then you add meditation to that, boom. So now you create this entire regimen. So you're prescribing that this is one component of your healthy lifestyle as an entrepreneur. Put some systems in place. It's going to help you relieve some of that stress. But you still got to eat right. You still got to get adequate sleep. You still got to be in a positive environment. You still got to do some other things. But this is a good place to start, though.
It is. It's a great place to start. It's a great place to get some order. I'm really excited, as I talked about before, with things I wasn't necessarily passionate about or, really into. Like, I'm really excited about this and helping people not only get their business together, but their lives too. So it's a good thing to see the transformations.
Gotcha. Well, Shequana, we have come to another favorite segment that I do here on the Cortez Hustle Show called Freestyle, because I know you got bars, sis. So I got the beat, and then you gonna drop. No, okay, that's not quite what freestyle is. So freestyle is, as I'm building this media empire that will one day surpass Ted Turner and Walt Disney, I don't always ask the right questions. So sometimes the conversation doesn't evolve to where we want it to go. And sometimes there are things that you need to reiterate because they're that important to you. So take 2 minutes and hit them with your best freestyle, either something that we haven't talked about that you feel is important or something that you want to reiterate that is critically important that they need to understand. So this is Freestyle with Shequana Hughes right here on the Cortez Hustle Show.
One thing that I have not talked about and that I think is extremely important is that it starts with you, that you are the starring role, you're the starring character in all of this. And so taking care of yourself, and I guess this is kind of what we were talking about before, and making sure that you are front and center, because when you are, a parent, or even if you're in grandmother or aunt, uncle, you tend to put people, you tend to put your business, you tend to put your clients before yourself. And we have to stop doing that and making sure that we are honoring ourselves, who we are, what we want, and not putting everything and everyone else in front of us. And I guess I could say a way to do that in what I'm talking about is making sure that other people in your business is getting a piece of you, but also that you are as well, and creating some kind of routine or structure around that. And I say that as far as like, I have family time. I have time that is dedicated to my children, but I have time that is dedicated to myself and just for me. So incorporate those things into your life, incorporate those things into your business. That's how I got kind of started into systems. I was listening to a YouTube video, and the lady was saying how she only did calls on certain days. So she only did business calls on certain days. And so, I don't know, just honoring yourself in that will improve your quality of life and your business and your family time.
Boom. Drop the mic. Drop the mic, right? That is Freestyle with Shequana Hughes right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. Tell everybody, Shequana, how can they get in touch with you? How can you help them get to the next level? We got about 3 or 4 minutes, but I want to make sure that they know that they got a friend in you and they can reach out to you and connect with you. So what's the best way for them to do that?
Follow me on Instagram. It's at the Sava Group, TheSava Group. You can follow me there. You can find me anywhere on social media there, LinkedIn, Facebook. And if you are a mompreneur who needs help with their systems or system support, you could definitely join my Facebook group. It is called System Support for Mompreneurs, for Mamapreneurs, MAMAPRENEURS. So you can join that group, and that's where we kind of come. It's like a safe place for moms who's dealing. I'm sorry, we don't have a fatherpreneur group.
You can join the Black Business Mastermind if you're a father. If you're a mama, then you join the Mamapreneurs group for systems and automation with Shequana. There you go. So
yeah.
Everybody covered.
So yeah, that's how you get in touch with me. And I look forward to connecting with you all. Schedule that free. It's a system strategy session. So where you are and where you're trying to go and what are the tools and resources you can use to get there is what we'll discuss on that call. So make sure you take advantage of that free resource.
Yep. Links in the comments, in the show notes, in the bio. Make sure y'all connect with my girl, Shequana. This has been so fun for me, Shequana. I knew you would bring the fire. You came highly recommended from our girl Tiffany. So I'm like, yeah, we got to get Shequana on the show as well. Any final thoughts?
I just want to thank you. Thank you for having me on your show. Thank you for having this outlet for Black people to come and talk about entrepreneurship and businesses. So I want to thank you for that and encourage you to keep doing what it is that you're doing, which I know you will. But my final thought would be to put you first and make sure that you are taking care of yourself and all of this, all of the dreams and the aspirations and all of that. Make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. You heard it from Shequana Hughes herself. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a fun-filled show. Hopefully you guys learned something. Drop a one in the comments if you learned anything today. And make sure that you click on the link in the show notes, in the bios, and the descriptions to connect with Shequana to learn how she can put systems around who you are as an individual that will flow its tentacles out into your family life, your business life, and everything else, and bring everything in harmony so that you can walk through and in your purpose without stress. So until we talk to you next time, we want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle up.
But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.